It's Tuesday morning. I totally overslept by about 10 minutes, so I'm running a little bit behind this morning already, which is not the best way to start the day, but it's going to be alright. And we've got some gnarly clouds. Check out this cloud front that just moved in. Just a wall of clouds in any north or south. It just stops. Super cool. So this is happening right now. I'm stuck in a train. It's not as if I was running a few minutes late today anyways, so why not? Might be a while. Just got out of work. It's actually really nice outside. For like the first time in 2 weeks, it's not oppressive. This is really nice. Makes me happy. It's Tuesday night. My wife is out at Costco and other places with some friends, because that's what they do, I guess. Which leaves me home alone, which means, again, I have to put the dishes away. And I thought that I would try to take advantage of this opportunity, yet again, to share some ideas with you. Last time I did the dishes, I talked about technology. This time, I'm going to talk about something a little less universally loved, and that is professional wrestling and, sports entertainment, of course. Professional wrestling is fake. Yes. And every time I bring professional wrestling up, everyone's first response is, "Isn't that fake?" To which I now respond, Game of Thrones is fake. But Game of Thrones, that's actors, that's a book. What do you think wrestlers are? They're actors with big muscles. Some of them much better actors than others, by the way. So, a lot of people that are my age grew up in the 90s when wrestling was real. The Attitude Era and the era before that, which I can't remember what it was. But guys like Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage and Bret the Hitman Hart and Stone Cold's early career and the early Undertaker and all of those guys, when they would bleed, they would do hardcore matches with barbed wire, some real kind of gruesome stuff they wanted you to think was real. They did everything they could to make it seem like they were actually punching each other with full force. They were actually kicking each other in the face at full speed and somehow miraculously were able to survive. But something funny happened. People found out that it wasn't real. And the charade, as it were, or the gig was up. And so, at some point, the WWE decided to let us in on the gimmick, as it were, admitting that these people, these guys and women, were in fact characters and not real people. Yes, Hulk Hogan is not his real name, nor is The Rock his real name. We all know that. He's Dwayne Johnson. He's been in a bunch of movies. He's also starting a YouTube channel. You should check out the video. It's amazing. So, why today still do I get so much crap from people when I tell them that I like to watch the WWE? In fact, I subscribe to the WWE Network. I pay money to watch this. But yet people still think that it's for kids. And this is my PSA on why I think people need to reconsider their perspective on professional wrestling. Nowadays, professional wrestlers are incredible athletes. The things that they are able to do in the ring while not actually killing each other is insane. With regularity now, there are near death-defying maneuvers that are done in the ring that not only look scary, but in no way injure the person that's being attacked. Case in point, WrestleMania this year. Shane McMahon climbs a 25-foot tall cage, jumps from the top of that cage down onto a hard table, and it's fine. Yes, was there an air mattress underneath it? Of course there was, because what idiot's going to do that if there's not an air mattress? The whole point is not to injure your opponent. The whole point of wrestling is to tell a story. That's why there's characters, and there's good guys, and there's bad guys, and there's factions, and there's fan favorites, and there's different feuds that go on, and that's why the belts are there, because it all leads to story. It's conflict, it's rising action, it's the climax, the main event at WrestleMania, and then there's the fallout, and then it all builds yet again. So, wrestling is about characters and stories. It's not about fighting. Fighting is the medium that they use to tell these stories. Now, are some of the stories super cheesy? Absolutely. Like, there are certain things, if you watch wrestling, that you just have to accept. In a ladder match, for example, people all of a sudden forget how to use their legs when they're climbing a ladder because they have to wait for the guy that's supposed to come knock them off. Because this leads me to another point. People can't get over the fact that wrestling matches are fixed, insofar as the winner is determined before the match starts. Kind of like the NBA. But what most people don't realize is that matches are not scripted move for move. In fact, I had a conversation with my wife about it because I was playing a wrestling video game, and she said, "Isn't this all fake? Isn't everything scripted?" And we had a little conversation. Certain things are scripted. For example, the opening of matches, the turning point of a match, and the ending of a match are generally all scripted. And if there is a long succession of signature moves or coincidences in a match, you can bet your butt that those segments are scripted. Everyone knows what they're supposed to do, when they're supposed to do it, and where they're supposed to do it, which is impressive when you have matches containing 6, 8, or 30 people like the Royal Rumble. But what isn't generally scripted is all of the in-between stuff. 80% of the match, most likely, is not scripted. It's improvised on the fly. So if you watch very, very carefully, especially to some of the newer wrestlers, you can see them whispering in each other's ear. And generally, they try to disguise it as trash talk. Or they have that's why a lot of the guys have long hair, so they can be like this and their hair is black in their face and they can talk to each other and you don't know. You're none the wiser. But most of what they do is completely improvised. Now, everyone's got their signature moves, of course, that they want to get in on the match, which is fine. But I think that people need to give these men and these women a little more respect, because nowadays it's not just fat guys in underwear bumping chests. These guys are doing standing backflips. They are jumping off 15-foot ladders through tables. They are going 2 to 3 to 4 nights a week, putting their bodies on the line. Again, going into steel steps, getting power bombed. They may pull their punches, but when you get power bombed, you get power bombed. That means you go like this, you do a front flip, and then the person takes you and slams you back and head first into the ground. Do they have ways of making the falls hurt less? Yeah, but guess what? It still freaking hurts. They still get concussions. They still tear their quadriceps. They still break their necks. Stone Cold Steve Austin. They still dislocate shoulders, break legs. Sid Vicious jumped off of a rope one time and landed, and his fibia and tibia and his leg snapped in half and his foot was sticking at a 90-degree angle from his leg. Vader got his eyeball popped out. Like, this stuff happens. So, I'm getting really worked up, aren't I? If you want to judge me for watching wrestling, that's fine. That's totally cool. I get defensive only insofar as I don't think most people understand what wrestling has become. That's all. And if people watched wrestling now and said, it's still bogus, that's cool. At least you know. You don't have to like it. I don't have to like The Bachelor. I think, wrestling's a little bit more real than that show is, but whatever. The stigma of it not being real, though, is only a small piece of the puzzle. I watch wrestling because I enjoy the athleticism that it takes and the precision and the skill that it takes and the trust that these people have in each other to not accidentally kill somebody. I mean, you watch some of these moves. There's one move that Kevin Owens does where he goes to powerbomb them, so he puts the person here, then he grabs their arms and picks them up, and if he slips, that person's head goes straight into the ground and they're a vegetable. And then he flips them out and powerbombs them, but for those 2 or 3 seconds, that person's life are completely in his hands. There has to be incredible trust. I think the storylines need to improve, but the overall magnitude of what wrestling encompasses is good versus evil, right versus wrong, underdog versus bully, all of that stuff in an entertaining, fun format. They're not afraid of comedy. They're not afraid to try things and then pull back and say that was a dumb idea. It is a playground for stories. And I think that's really cool. And if I get to see a guy jump off of a 15-foot ladder and go through a table, why not? That's fun. So, wrestling PSA over. I'm going to go play some video games.